Okay, here we go. We're back. Episode number 10 of Big Mouth Willie Bass Podcast. I'm Ryan Willis.
And I'm Matt Willis.
We were off for 2 full weeks. We were busy last week, man. I was busy with finals, finishing up the school semester, the chaotic school semester. And Matt was working every day, it seemed like. He was taking everyone's shifts. I wasn't sure we were ever going to be able to record another show again, Matt.
Yeah, we need money. Real money.
And unfortunately, we don't get anything out of this.
Not yet.
Right.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
Give it until our 600th episode. I'm sure we'll be making about $1 a show by then.
We just gotta keep turning out these shows.
Yeah.
2 a day.
We'll be old and gray by then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope everyone's doing well out there. I know things seem to be kind of heading in the right direction finally, Matt. I mean, they're starting to open things up, businesses and whatnot here in California. They're going to start allowing you to go into restaurants now. Obviously, not at full capacity, but they're going to start letting a few people in at a time. I know casinos are opening up, some other smaller stores. So things seem to be heading in the right direction.
Finally. It's been a long time coming.
It really has.
But then again, if it wasn't for this whole thing, we wouldn't have created this podcast.
Yeah, probably not. Because as you can see now, we're getting busy again, and it's going to be more and more challenging for us to keep doing these shows.
It's okay.
But
we got a loyal following.
We will do our best for our loyal fans out there. How do you like my new Padres hat?
It's not bad.
Brown is back. Too bad baseball isn't.
Yeah. That's sad.
I wanted to get an updated Padres hat because the one that I have is a generic old hat. It's got a bunch of sweat on it.
Back from 98.
Dirt. Yeah, it's pretty old. So I figured, hey, why not? I'm glad they finally switched to their original colors. We've been wanting that for years, decades, really. So they finally decided to do it, of course, for this year. And we have no baseball to enjoy it. But yeah, I like my hat. It fits good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, the new looks a lot better.
It is, absolutely. So hopefully we will have sports, however, coming shortly, because that was the other thing that the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, announced a couple days ago, that professional sports can resume without fans, of course, starting next month in a couple weeks. So
yeah,
that's positive news, man.
It's like a week and a half away.
We need sports, anything, whether it's NBA, baseball. I know NASCAR is back. I haven't watched any NASCAR races, but give me another month of no baseball or basketball, I might cave in and start watching some NASCAR races.
Your inner redneck will come out.
Right. It's in there somewhere. And yeah, so hopefully it will just keep going up from here, keep the good news coming, and hopefully we'll be back to some form of normalcy in the very near future.
Yeah. It's good to be working again, though.
That's true. So yeah, update. We are working again. We've been back for, 2 weeks now? 3 weeks? Something like that.
Yeah, a couple of Sundays ago.
Yeah, I remember when our boss called me and he was like, are you guys ready to come back to work? And there was like a 5-second pause and I was, yeah, I think so. Not really, but you know what? I don't think I'll ever be quite fully ready to go back to work, so why not? Let's just do it now. I was so tempted to be like, I think I need another month, boss.
Well, for me, part of the reason why I left to begin with was that I just wanted to, try my shot at getting that unemployment money. A buddy of mine has been making $600 a week, not a month, a week.
Yeah.
Since mid-March, and he's still getting that. And I just want to get a piece of that pie. But the issue was that they didn't let us go immediately. We kept working like an extra month, and that kind of screwed us over at the end because by the time we tried getting it,
it was too late.
It was way too, 50 million people and their mothers, their grandmothers, their children, everybody applied for it already, and we were just like, damn it.
Yeah, and for me, because I applied for it before you did,
yeah,
and they sent me something back the next week, and I was all excited. I was like, all right, I got it already. This is freaking sweet. I opened up, and they were just like, yeah, we can't verify it's you. So we need you to send all this information, pay stubs, utility bills, you name it, a copy of your driver's license. So I sent them all that information, didn't hear anything for about 2 weeks, finally got another thing in the mail, and it just said, oh yeah, just letting you know we received your, application for unemployment. I was like, yeah, and I have not received anything since then.
it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
And I just applied for it, and that was the end of it. Never heard anything.
Well, somebody was telling me the other day at work that we should still get something because I guess there's been quite a few cases where people have gotten their back pay like a month or two after they applied for. So maybe we still will get a check in the mail. But at this point, man, I wouldn't hold my breath.
It would be pretty difficult now that we are working again. I mean, it would be funny. Like we were talking about this, it would be funny if we like got unemployment out of nowhere, just like go back to our boss, and be like, "Nah, we can't work now. We want to go back on furlough."
I just want 1 day a week, 1 day a month. Lol.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, it is good to get out of the house more.
Oh, yeah. I think we were both kind of ready. I mean, like I was saying, I was joking that I guess we're ready to go back. I don't know if anybody's ever completely ready to go back to work, but
yeah, it's just...
at the same time, we definitely needed to get out of the house more.
Yeah, it was a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Unless if we got unemployment, then, I would be a little bit more hesitant in going back. But
it was my dream. You'll have to wait some other year, I suppose.
We need another pandemic.
Oh, no, don't say that. I am not responsible for what this man says.
It's okay. We only get 100 viewers.
Yeah, what's happened, by the way, folks? Our views have just gone in the crapper.
If you're watching this, please forward this to everyone in your contact list.
We went from about 200 plus viewers a show, the first 3 or 4 episodes, and now we're under 100. And I'm like, man, what? And we were talking sports for a while, so we figured, well, that's why people aren't listening / watching us anymore. So then we did a couple of shows that weren't sports related, and we still haven't really been able to climb out of the gutter.
You guys seemed to like the Big Bear episode, though.
Yeah, people like hearing our drunk stories.
You like hearing our low points of our lives.
That was a fun episode to record. All right, Matt. Well, on today's episode, we will be talking about, because episode 9, I discussed my experiences in the radio industry and how short-lived that was. So that gave us the idea, why don't we both talk about other jobs that we have had, or it was just like that and we were out of there. We got the job, and no sooner after we were out the door saying, forget this.
Surprisingly, it's been a good amount of those.
Yeah.
Well, more so for you, actually, but I actually have had a handful myself. So, yeah, we're alike in this circumstance.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't just the mighty 1090 where it was just like a couple months and boom, I was gone. There's been quite a few other jobs where immediately I'm just like, yeah, I just don't think this is going to work out. So we were going to talk about that. And Matt, of course, you have probably the best story out of both of us.
Oh, yeah?
You had possibly the quickest turnaround in humankind here. But
I think the viewers will really like this one, though. So
I hope so.
Especially the ones that don't know about it.
Yeah, we would like to hear from you as well, either on YouTube or Podbean, however you watch / listen to us. If you've had, a very short tenured job before where it was just like a day, a week, or what have you, tell us about it in the comments. We would love to hear from you. But Matt, let me go ahead and throw it to you first. So,
oh, really?
This was pretty recently for you.
Yes.
This was like a couple months after you had moved back here from Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And you had already gotten a job at the golf course that I've been working at for a couple of years. I was able to help you land a spot there. But you were thinking that you needed a second job just so you could easily pay rent every month.
Yeah.
And have plenty of leftover money to do fun stuff. So go ahead, I'll throw it to
you. Yeah, I'll try to make it as quick as possible. But yeah, like you said, I just moved back in late December, and I started working at the country club, where I'm still working at now, of course. I started working there in January, and I like the job. I do like that job, but the issue is what, just like he said, is I wanted more income, just flat out simple. I wanted more income because
that's the American dream.
Yeah, that, and plus it was so early on. I didn't know yet how much money I needed just to survive yet, because I didn't know because I know how much I'm paying for rent, but I didn't know I couldn't expect all the other expenses of just food, gas, social wise, everything else.
Dates?
So, maybe. Just all of that combined. So I was really putting a lot of pressure on myself when I first moved back. I gotta get a second job. Have to get a second job. whether it was a full-time job or a second part-time. I was mostly looking for a second part-time job, just so. Yeah,
So you had at least a little
bit of time.
flexibility.
Yeah, a little bit of flexibility. So I had a couple interviews at certain places, and none of them worked out. I don't know if we want to talk about that in this episode or not, but that didn't work out in a future episode. So in early January, I applied at a place called Big Five Sporting Goods.
Oh, yes. Big Five, man.
This was like early January. I've only been back for like a couple weeks. But, I didn't hear back from them until like late January. They just gave me a random phone call. And it turned out to be Big Five. And I was...
Now, make sure you mention what happened, though, when they were setting up the interview. Remember?
Okay, yeah, I'll get to that. Yeah, it's all coming together now. coming back to me. So yeah, like it was late January, still haven't got a second job yet, still working at the golf course, and they called me in to come in for an interview, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll come in, see what it's like and what job it is, and of course the date that they wanted me to come in for was on Super Bowl Sunday.
And it was like right when the game was supposed to start.
Yeah, it was like right at 3:00, and kickoff was at 3:30. I was just like, "Oh, thanks a lot, assholes!" Like, but the thing was that like I still went to it, and the thing was that I first went in, and like the manager like came up to me like with a confused look, and he was just like, "What are you doing here?" I was just like, well, my interview's right now. I'm here to do my interview. And, like, he walked away, and then he came back, like, 5 minutes later. We have you on for an interview tomorrow at 3:00. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, I drove all the way down here on Super Bowl Sunday. Mind you that we're having a party here.
Yeah.
So, I was already missing out, and it was all for naught.
I don't understand how something like that could happen. And
Yeah.
because they had called you the day before the Super Bowl. And they're like, oh yeah, come in tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay? So did somebody just not look at the calendar, or they thought it was a Sunday? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, they completely botched that. So next day I come in and, we did the interview, but it was a really quick interview. Like, really quick. Like, I see we're at about the 12:50 mark on this video. It wasn't even that long. It was probably like 5 minutes, like in and out.
Yeah.
And they gave me the job, essentially. It was almost as if, like, as long as I didn't say shit or something like that, they were going to give me the job. As long as I didn't curse or I wasn't, like, too weird or anything.
They sound
like,
pretty desperate.
or, if I wasn't on drugs or, all that. And they gave it to me, and it was so rushed. Like, he put his arm out at me, like, oh, this guy right here. This guy has potential. I was just like, okay.
He's got Big Five written all over him.
So, yeah, I got hired at Big Five. So they had to do, like, a background check and, like, a drug test as well. That took, like, 2 weeks. So around mid-February, I had my first day, or they scheduled me for my first day. Yeah, this is when it gets juicy. So I went in there for my first day, and I was there for like no more than like 30 minutes. And I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, what the hell am I doing here? I can't really explain it. Like, I think a lot of it was just because, like, my previous job was retail. I worked there for 1 year and 8 months. Job before that, even though that was several years before that one, was also retail. Job before that was also retail. And long story short, I'm sick of retail. I am freaking sick of it. Like,
and apparently you had to work one shift at Big Five to remind you that you don't like retail.
Look, here's the thing. I don't know if you... Can I say the location of where it's at, or should we just keep that private?
That's up to you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's at Big Five Escondido. If you're aware of where that's at, it's ghetto. It's a complete ghetto part of town. It's just a fact. You can't deny it. It's a really small, compact, narrow store in a bad location, bad neighborhood. I felt so awkward to be there. It just, and again, retail as well is another retail experience. And I was just like, I did not move back here to get another piece of shit job like this. I just felt awful. I was just like, why did I even apply here?
Well, and also tell them about what happened when you first got there. Like, okay, you got your stuff or whatever.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
So this probably ties in with the location of how it is, or maybe it's just their policy. I don't know, but they were just like as soon as I got there, he kind of looked at me. He's like, "Oh, so you got your stuff with you?" And I was just like, "My stuff?" And like the first thing I thought was like maybe like paperwork or something like that, but they were just like, "Yeah, your stuff, like your cell phone, your wallet, your keys." It's like, "Oh, well, yeah, of course I have. That's, I mean." you kind of have to get here somehow, and I had to pretty much like give up my phone and like my keys. Like they had to like check me out. Like
They had to body search them.
like I felt violated. I felt like
They took that metal detector one.
I felt like I just committed a crime or something. Like
Yeah, before you even officially start.
it was just so awkward.
When you told me that, I was kind of like, okay, that I don't think I'd be okay with that. Like, I
Yeah.
could kind of understand a company be like, hey, no cell phones while you're on the
Yeah,
clock
but still,
or
like
whatever.
a cell phone could help you like look up products and
Yeah, just the fact they had to take your wallet, like I would not have been okay with that. It's like
the whole thing was just sketchy, and
you gotta draw a line somewhere.
the manager there is just like a really nerdy guy, but like an asshole type nerdy guy, like kind of an entitled Dungeons and Dragon player. Like, and then there was another one that was just kind of an asshole. Now he was a big guy, big asshole, and just the fit there was just awful, and I was just hating my life. It was such a long shift too. It was like a 12:30 to 10 with a 30-minute lunch, like at 4 o'clock. And again, this is a small building, so you could barely any air to breathe, and it was super busy, and the responsibilities for this job was ridiculous for minimum wage too. Like you pretty much were a manager, but you were just a random associate. Like it made no sense why I would want to do that, especially considering I already have a job to begin with.
Yeah, because you had to work like several different departments pretty much at once. You had to answer phones, cashiering, sales.
Sell guns, sales,
Yeah.
cell phone calls, anything the managers want.
Just way too much for freaking minimum wage, man.
You have to work in the back, and stock, and
Inventory.
it was just like
Too much.
if I just stuck around there, I would have gone insane, just flat out. And I was just thinking to myself the entire time, like I did not move back here to get a job like this. I would have just stayed out there if that were the case.
Yeah.
Like it just made no sense, and I was hating myself for it. I was just like, why did I apply there? Why did I apply there? Why did I apply? And I was
He
just
really was beating himself up over it, I'll tell you. I mean, even before you went in for your first show, I remember that morning you were just like moping around the house saying, gosh, I am just regret. I'm like, man, you haven't even started yet.
yeah,
You got to
it's
at least
just-
go in for a shift and see what it's all about. And then when you came home that night,
Yeah, I came home that night. I saw you, and I was just like,
in this room.
yeah, in this room. I think you were doing homework, like at this same exact spot. But I was just like, Rye, I made a terrible mistake. And I was just like, yeah, tomorrow morning I'm gonna drive down there and quit. I have never been so sure about anything. In
Yeah,
my
I remember
life.
saying, are you sure you don't want to maybe just finish out the week or maybe give it a couple weeks just to kind of see what it exactly entails? Because I know, obviously, you kind of got a preview the first night, but you don't really exactly know what you're getting yourself into until you actually work there for a week or two. But you were just like, nope, I can already tell. This is just like Walmart and all the other retail places I've worked at.
Yeah.
Get me the heck out. I was like, all right, that's fair. I mean, you do have a job already at the country club. So if you feel like you can get by with just that job, then quit. Yeah, don't waste your time or their
Yeah,
time.
I was going to say, because I was saying early on that, I didn't know about my finances yet, or how it was going to be month per month, week by week yet at that point when I applied. But by this point, I was kind of figuring out, you know what? Like, I could potentially make more with a second job, but even just with having the one job, I can make enough as long as I'm careful. That's
Right.
the key.
You gotta be frugal.
Yeah. And it was just not worth it at all. And there wasn't really anything that bad that happened that first day because it's a lot of training and I had to do like modules and all that stupid stuff. Like
Training videos.
You gotta kiss the customer's ass no matter what. That kind of retail bullshit. But
Man, you were just a loose cannon today.
yeah, it's just bad memories. Bad memories. So yeah. I guess the only highlight of that day is just like I remember I was helping the manager put up like a sign up on the front door, and there was like a bunch of homeless people screaming nearby, and like he was just kind of like staring out there for like 10 seconds, just like as they were going at it, and I was just like, yeah, it sounds like the neighborhood, all right.
Surprised he didn't say, yeah, we hear this all the time.
I think he did say something like that.
Nothing
but-
out of the ordinary here.
So anyway, long story.
So, next morning.
So I put on, a nice polo, some really nice pants, like dress shoes. Like I looked like $1 million,
Okay, you were going in for another interview.
So I went in there immediately, and I think the store was closed this day. I think it was like a holiday. I forget. I think it was like President's Day or something. So I went in and I immediately saw the manager. I was just like, "We gotta talk in your office right now." And he was just like, "Okay."
Okay.
Yeah, again, nerdy.
You want to do math equations?
Yeah. And I just, went in there. I was just like, "Hey, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm thankful you guys, took a flyer on me, but this is not working out for me."
After one shift.
This is not, I don't really want to do this, and I just came in to tell you that this is it. I'm done. I'm quitting.
And his reaction?
We pretty much went back and forth in a heated exchange for like 5 minutes. Yeah.
He was like, what?
yeah, like he was just shocked.
Well, to be fair, I would probably be a little shocked too if I was in his shoes. Like, you just hired someone.
And plus
they work one shift and they just come in immediately like, nope.
Yeah, plus,
Get me out of here.
Plus, people who usually quit just don't show up too.
Right.
I took the time to drive down there just to shat on this guy's day.
You probably could have even just called and be like, hey, just letting you know, I'm never coming in again. Click. But no, you drove down there all dressed up and everything, shaved and everything.
Suit and tie, shaved.
Yeah, just to tell him, I'm out, man. To your credit, though, that was a very responsible and professional thing to do.
Yeah.
But it also sets you up for a situation like that for the manager to try to convince you to stay on. Try to persuade
Yeah, and like
you.
he was just like trying to figure out like, what is my thought process? Like, why am I doing this? And at first he was just kind of like, was it something that happened yesterday? And I was just like, I mean, nothing physically that happened. It's just mentally. Like I just had like a, what do you call it? Like a awakening moment or something, like like just
Flashback.
Yeah, like a flashback. So I was just like, look, man, like I worked. Okay, you already said it, so everybody knows that. I worked at Walmart for 1 year and 8 months.
Well, yeah, I think you mentioned it in a previous episode.
I mean, I don't remember, but I worked at Walmart for 1 year and 8 months. Before that, I worked at Whole Foods Market for 3 months. Before that, I worked at Rouse for eight months.
Nothing but retail.
And I love sports. This is a sporting goods store, but it's still retail, and I don't want to get tied up with the drama that comes with retail, especially when it comes to the freaking women, which we'll probably get into in later episodes.
Oh, really? I'm not aware of this. I think you might be doing that one by yourself, man.
Okay, I'll bash it up. But okay, anyway. But yeah, just not just that, but just like just everything that retail, like the customers, the job itself, the low pay. Like, I don't want to put up with this. And then he was just like, well, like, could we at least, could you work out the rest of this week?
Yeah. And you're just like, nope.
And I was just like, no, I'm coming here to tell you that I'm quitting.
And then didn't he ask you to at least work that day?
Yeah, and then like after that, it's just like, okay, well, what about today? Because you're already well dressed, clearly.
You're ready to go.
You're ready to come in for your shift. Like, you're in full work attire. Like, can you work today?
So you should have came with like a bathing suit on, a Hawaiian shirt, sandals,
and,
sunglasses. That's how you should have walked in there.
and I was just like, no, this is it. Like, kiss my ass.
You didn't say
I should have said that. And, of course, he was just like, this is so disappointing. And
I gotta say, I do feel kind of bad for the guy. Because clearly they needed help there. They clearly needed you and must have been understaffed for him to just be like, please, practically begging on his hands and knees for you to stay, even just for a day. So I felt a little bad for the guy, but at the end of the day, you gotta do what's best for you.
Yeah, and so pretty much we just went back and forth. There was a couple other things said, but nothing noteworthy. But
Yeah.
so eventually, he let me go, and I kind of power walked out of there, and
Slam the door behind you on the way out.
and I hopped in my truck, and I was just like yelling at myself the entire way back up the hill, just like, what am I doing? Like I just need to get my life in order right now. And sure enough, that same exact day I got home, that's when I signed up for my real estate class. So, which I'm still currently taking. And
So you turn it into a positive. See, that's the important thing. You turn the negative into a positive.
yeah, within like 10 minutes of getting home, I got
Pretty much.
my laptop. It's like, okay, here we go.
This is
Bam,
the school
there we
I'm
go.
going to go to or take online. Boom.
And the rest is history. That's what I'm still trying to work on to this day. So
And then Matt prank called Big Five a couple months ago.
I did.
Well, I think the reason you did it was just to see if they were still open, right, during Corona.
Either,
And sharing out the late pick, like, hey, thanks for calling Big Five.
well, I was hoping that like the manager was going to pick up, and of course it wasn't. But regardless, I still got them with a prank. So I was just like, okay, that's cool.
This is Nick's Pizza.
So the moral of the story is this for all you watching or listening. Even if you apply at a place and you don't think they're going to respond back, just make sure that you actually could imagine yourself working there.
Yeah.
At the time I was desperate, but in hindsight, it was I knew I hate retail, so I should have looked elsewhere. And
Well, I think the important thing to remember, Matt, is when you go on for the interview. Because I still think, even if you're thinking you're probably not going to take the job, you should still at least go in for the interview.
Yeah.
Because at least you actually get to feel the place out. You get to meet the person, potentially your manager in theory.
yeah, but like I said, though, it was like 2 minutes. He was already like, job.
Right. But what I would have done is been like, hey, can I think about it? Can I get back to you tomorrow? Because I have a couple other interviews lined up or something along those lines. Instead of just rushing right into it and being like, I understand maybe you were caught off guard. You weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
But when he was like, okay, you want the job? You should have been like, I appreciate the offer. Can I get back to you in a couple of days? Because I got a couple of things else that I'm exploring here.
Yeah, not even Walmart offered me the job that quickly. They were really quick too. But
Yeah.
Big Five was just like, okay, he can walk, he can breathe. Okay, you got the job.
But I understand. I mean, I've done the same thing before where not even thinking about it. Like, oh, yay! I'm just so elated that I got a job
Yeah.
that I don't even think about it afterwards. Oh, shoot.
It was so rushed.
Yeah.
And
So I understand. But at least you know now, if you're going to apply anywhere, actually think about it like you were saying.
Yeah.
Try to envision yourself being inside that building, working there with the uniform.
It was fun. It was like a week or two after that whole experience. Like I got something from the mail from Big Five, and it was just like, "Thank you for working here from like February 16th to February 17th."
Here's your paycheck.
Like you decided to leave the company by voluntary what's it called, voluntary
Yeah.
resignation. I still have it in my room today,
Please sign up for our retirement fund.
401k plans. But
Here's a gold watch for your efforts.
so yeah, that was a low point in my life. But again,
Oh, it wasn't that bad. It was just a reminder that you probably shouldn't work in retail anymore.
yeah, and like I said, I did sign up for a class that same exact day. So
Right.
that same day even I did something important. So
Quick turnaround.
it had to be to get over that terrible mistake I made.
Nothing against Big Five. I think it was just because you were already done with retail in general.
Well, that location was pretty bad too.
That's
So-
true. I would not have wanted to work in that spot, especially.
Like I was up in Temecula just the other day, and like their Big Five store looked a lot nicer and bigger. And,
Maybe they don't have the same like protocols as the Escondido.
yeah,
one
there wasn't
has.
and there wasn't like 50 homeless people hanging out in the front.
Temecula is slightly nicer than Escondido, I would say.
Yeah, but anyway, so how about your stories,
Yeah,
buddy?
I got a million of them. Endless amount of stories. So, like I mentioned earlier, we talked about my experiences with the Mighty 1090. How I only worked there for a couple months, but that was not the only job where it was just a super short tenure. So, my first job that I pretty much got, well, I didn't leave on my own doing. It was at Research Works. It was an office job that my buddy Jimmy helped me get. This was years ago when I was working at Albertsons, speaking of retail.
Oh, jeez.
So I was super desperate to get out of that job or just to find something to make more money. So I came across this job as an office assistant at Research Works. Couldn't even really tell you what they did. I'm assuming they researched about what. I still don't know to this day. I think I've asked my friend Jimmy, like, yeah, what did they even do? And I think he tried to explain to me. I still didn't understand it. So yeah, I was just going to be an office assistant, which meant filing paperwork, running to like Staples to pick up, printing supplies, what have you. Just doing a lot of grunt work.
Yeah, like busy work.
Yeah, so I got that job, but unfortunately, they could only offer me 2 days a week, and I think the shifts were only 5 hours long, so it just wasn't going to be enough for me to be able to quit Albertsons, unfortunately. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just do it. I'll do the 2 jobs things. I'll make a little extra money. The job was just so strange. My boss, like, she was a nice lady, but she didn't give me really any guidance. Like, I would show up in the morning and I would sit. They had a little desk for me like this in her office, and I would sit there and I'd kind of be like, so what do you want me to do? And she'd just be like, go ahead and log into my email account and delete all the junk mail. Okay, and there'd be like literally thousands of emails. I'd just go, just deleting everything.
Oh, scrolling.
Yeah, 15 minutes later, I'm done with that. Okay, what do you want me to do now? Give me a second. I'm about to jump on a call. So she'd get on a call for like a half an hour. So I'm just literally sitting there, twiddling my thumbs. Finally, she's done. Oh, can you set a new voicemail for our company phone? Okay, do that. Okay, water the plants. Okay. All right, that's pretty much it. You can go home now. Like, that's pretty much it. And there were some shifts where I did actually file paperwork, and I don't even know if I technically was doing it right because the way they had it set up was super confusing, and nobody really even explained it to me. There was just millions of folders everywhere. Some of them weren't properly labeled.
That whole job didn't make sense.
It really didn't. Like, every morning when I'd walk in there, I'd be like, what is the point of this? Like, I mean, it's free money essentially because I wasn't really working.
Yeah, but wasn't that far a drive though?
It was in Rancho Bernardo, I think. So it wasn't too bad. I think it only took me about a half an hour to get there.
I remember like I was asking you like, oh, like what's the job like, and you weren't really like giving me a clear-cut answer.
Because I didn't really know what to say, because what I just said is pretty much all I had to do. And like I said, sometimes I would run to Office Depot or Staples and get some office supplies.
It made me feel like, is Research Works part of the government or something? Like they doing some undercover stuff?
I don't know. I honestly don't even think they're still around. I think they closed up shop a few years ago from what Jimmy told me. But
shame.
So anyway, I was only there for about, I think, 3 months. And I remember at the end of one of my shifts, my boss called me into her office and was just like, hey, unfortunately, we're going to be doing some changes around here. We got some new people coming in, and we just really don't have enough work for you at this point. So we're just going to have to let you go. And I was just like, okay, like what? I honestly really wasn't that bummed because, again, I just wasn't really doing anything. There were so many shifts there where I would just sit there for like an hour straight, not doing anything. And people would be like, oh, that's awesome, free money. But it was super awkward. Because my manager was awkward. She wasn't like super easy to talk to. She wasn't that personable. She just had a very weird, just kind of reserved personality, I would say.
A weird vibe.
Nothing against her, but she just didn't give me any guidance.
Yeah.
I didn't really learn how to do anything.
Yeah, it is annoying when you go to work and you just feel like you have to like be told every single little thing.
Right. Like, give me a game plan for each shift.
You have no freedom at all.
That's what I couldn't stand. So honestly, I was kind of happy that I was let go because there was literally nothing for me to do at that point. I think I was mailing some bills for them.
How long did you work there?
About 3 months.
3 months.
I think I got hired in June or July of that year, which was, I want to say 2013 or 12, something like that. And then I got let go in September. So it was very short-lived. The only thing I was bummed about was not seeing my buddy Jimmy on a weekly basis, but he understood. He's like, dude, you're probably better off. I'm hating this job. And he ended up getting out, I think, a few months after me. So serves him right.
Yeah.
So there was that job. But then a few years ago, actually, no, 2 years ago now, I was unemployed for a little while. I had quit my maintenance manager job with DMV.org, a place that I worked at for 3.5 years. I, for the most part, liked that job, but it was the same damn thing every day, repetition. I got so tired of picking up after people because that was essentially what my job was. So I quit, mostly so I could go back to school full time, but also because I was burned out.
Yeah.
So I was unemployed for about 7-8 months, I want to say. Finally got to a point, it's like, okay, I've gone through quite a bit of my savings here.
Yeah.
Got to find another job.
Know the feeling?
So I was just applying everywhere, kind of like what you were doing a few months ago. And lo and behold, I get an email from Home Depot.
Oh, no.
Home Cheapo.
Go Home Cheapo.
And mind you, I had heard actually a lot of good things about Home Depot.
Yeah.
I had several friends over the years that either worked there themselves or knew people that worked there, and they always had really positive things to say. Mm-hmm. I remember my buddy Juan Villa, who we had on an episode a few months ago. He was talking about it to me, and he's like, oh yeah, I know a couple people in my class that work there. They love it. And I was like, okay. So when they called me in for an interview, I was actually kind of excited. One, because I needed the money, but also I was thinking, okay, I know it's retail, which I hate from my Albertsons days, but from what I've heard, it doesn't sound so bad. Maybe this will be a different experience.
Yeah.
So I kind of went into it, optimistic. Went in for the interview, went really well, got hired that same day, and I was on cloud nine. It's like, yeah, I got a job finally. I'm back in business, baby. The problem is it was a cashier's position.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not what I wanted. I wanted to be a loader. The guys that work mostly outside, they get called like, hey, can you help load up this brick in this guy's truck? Or, hey, can you do a propane exchange, collect the carts? Like, that's what I wanted to do. I just kind of wanted to be outside the store. I didn't want to be inside, like, right up front, the face of the store, cashiers. Oh. But that was what they were hiring for at the time. And I was just like, all right, well, maybe I'll give it a shot for a little while. Maybe they could put me in a different department after I'd been there for a little bit. So again, I was trying to stay optimistic. And literally my first 2 weeks there, it was nothing but me sitting in the back room watching training videos. So that actually wasn't that bad. Because I was just literally sitting on my butt for a few hours a shift, just watching videos and taking quizzes.
Yeah, that does sound
So
easy.
I actually enjoyed it. I was actually purposely taking my time with it. Like I would go back and rewatch the same video a couple of times just to waste time. Because I was in no rush to get up front.
It's easy money.
Exactly. But finally, it reached the point where it's like, okay, you have to start working now. I think you've watched enough videos. So they throw me up front. I'll never forget it. First shift. They just throw me right, they put me with this lady that nobody liked there.
Of course.
She's probably the most unlikable person at that Home Depot. And she lets me watch her, shadow her for, I think, 1 or 2 transactions. And then immediately she just steps off the side. You do it now. I'm like, okay. So I immediately am, trying to be nice to the customer. Hey, how you doing? Just trying to talk to him. And the lady's like, no. You don't do that. You're supposed to put in this code. Blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, can you show me nicely?
God.
But I remember after doing that for, 10 minutes or so, they put me by self-checkout. And I was just standing there. And I just remember, Matt, immediately, kind of like how you felt during your first shift at Big Five.
Yeah.
Immediately, just this wave rushed over me. And I was thinking, wow. This is just Albertsons all over again. What am I doing here?
It just proves that even if it's not like a grocery store setting, it's still retail. It's still the same thing, same principles.
I'll never forget that feeling where I was just thinking to myself, man, You idiot.
Yeah.
You have made a terrible mistake. But unlike you, I decided, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance. Because I don't know how to do anything naturally.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I at least had a job. You didn't. Like, another job.
Right. I think that was part of the reason. Was because I'd been unemployed for so long.
Yeah.
So I kind of just needed to stick it out. So I was thinking, okay, I know it feels bad. It doesn't look good right now, but I'm going to at least give it a chance. So a month goes by. I still hate the job. I'm starting to figure things out, kind of get used to the system that they have, but still not really like it. They kept putting me in the damn garden section, which at first I loved. Because I remember my first couple of shifts out there, it was super slow. Hardly any customers were going through there. And it was, I was outside technically. So I actually liked working out there. And I made the mistake of being like, oh yeah, you can stick me out there anytime you want. Okay, they started putting me out there on the weekends.
Oh, yeah.
And just mad rush after mad rush, and all these people coming in. So I'm thinking about growing petunias. Is this a good time of the year to do that? Oh, what about this bird of paradise? When's a good time to plant that? Is it watermelon season? Just asking me all these different questions, thinking that I'm an expert just because I'm standing by a register in the garden section.
Just because you have a Home Cheapo apron on.
So they automatically assume you're an expert and know everything.
Yeah.
So I would be trying to call the actual people that would be working in the garden section, and 9 times out of 10, they would never come out. They wouldn't even return my call. And the customer would just be sitting there, standing there for 10, 15 minutes, and they'd be looking at me like,
just staring
is
at
somebody
you
going
like
to
this.
help me? And I'm like, bro, I'm trying. Do you see me? I keep going over the freaking intercom. Nobody's coming. And they just would leave you out to dry. And they would always eventually call me back, oh, I'm on my lunch. Okay, well, who do I point them to then? Who can help them? Oh, try this person. Try calling that person. They never get back. It was just a nightmare. So about 2 months into it, I was able to find the country club job that I still work at to this day, thankfully.
Yeah.
So as soon as I got hired at the country club, that same day I drive over to Home Depot to meet with the HR guy. To this point, I thought the guy was pretty cool. His name was Alan. This chubby old guy, he's bald. I thought he was cool. He was a funny guy. He's the same guy that had the orientation for me. So I walk in, and I'm just like, hey, Alan, just letting you know, I just got another job at a golf course, so I'm going to go ahead and give you my 2 weeks notice. I'm going to be gone after 2 weeks. And he's just like, but you just got here. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it's been a couple months now, but I mean, yeah, I guess in a way, I'm still pretty new. And he's just like, why? Why are you leaving? Because I realized that this is retail, and I just don't like retail. After working in retail for over 3 years, I want nothing to do with it. I decided to give this job a chance because I was kind of desperate at the time. But 2 months into it, it's pretty clear that this is not going to work out for me. It's not a good fit. And he just goes off on me. Still to this day, I can't believe the way he was treating me. But he's just like, I don't get it, man. What's there to offer you at a golf course? I'm just trying to figure out, why would you want to work at a golf? Do they offer you benefits there? Do they offer you more money than we do? And I was like, you guys don't offer me any benefits here. I'm part-time, dude. And you guys only offer me 50 cents more an hour than they do. What is the incentive? The golf course is much more laid back.
Yeah.
That's what's appealing to me, and I'm telling you, I've done the retail thing. I gave it another chance. It's just not for me, pal. And furthermore, is it really any of your business?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's none of his business. And none.
Yeah, he should not be asking me why I'm leaving.
Like
if
all
somebody
these
wants to
personal
quit their
questions.
job, that's their decision.
Yeah.
Let them go. Instead, he's putting up a fight with me, trying to keep me. And I'm like, if anything, this is making me hate you guys even more.
Gosh. Bad reflection of the company.
Yeah. Literally. So I remember he threw the paper down on the desk, here, fill this out. And I'm like, I will gladly fill this out, a-hole. So I filled it out real quick. I'm leaving. This will be my last day. And I slide it back at him. He's like, okay, you're good to go. And I'm like, thank you. And I just stormed out of there. Just could not believe it, man. So there was that experience. Terrible.
Yes.
I don't know who told all my buddies that Home Depot is a great company to work for. I did not have a good experience.
Yeah, it sounded awful.
There was a lot of people that worked there that, I just don't get it. I mean, there were a few nice people, as there always is anywhere, but a lot of the people there were just so strange and they were rude.
Bunch of weirdos.
They weren't willing to help you. It just was not a good environment. Maybe other Home Depots are different. Maybe I just went to the wrong store, which wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, it could have been terrible experience. So there was that. Later that same year,
we're not done yet.
Nope. I get hired at the YMCA.
Ah, look at little kids.
So I was at this point a little fed up with the golf course job because I was pretty much the only one working there at the time. We had a couple people quit, and there was another guy that was never available to work because he had another job. So I was working 5 or 6 days a week for like 2 months straight. All closing shifts, pretty much all by myself. Just a lot of work. It was good money, but after 2 months of doing the same thing and working that many hours, you get tired of it. And I kept telling them, look, we need to hire more people, guys. This is ridiculous. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, we're looking around, and nothing would happen. So finally, I was like, okay, I got to take the initiative. I got the job at the YMCA. And immediately, I told the golf course, okay, I'm not going to quit just in case this doesn't work out. But I'll be on call for you guys. But that doesn't mean like I'm going to be very available. So, or I won't be very available at all. Essentially is what I told them. So I get into YMCA and I was supposed to be like, I forget what the job title was. It was like mentor or something. But I thought I was going to be doing like coaching stuff.
Yeah.
Coaching like basketball, flag football, what have you. And it wasn't. It was anything but. It was basically a babysitting job. And I'll never forget my first shift. I was shadowing someone, and the group of kids that we were watching, there was these 2 guys that just started wailing on each other. They just started throwing punches. And then I think later on there was another fight that we had to break up. I was like, does this happen all the time? The lady's like, oh, no, this never happens. I was like, yeah, BS.
Yeah, sure.
So that to me was a red flag. So I remember like, because we would basically, okay, here's a ball, go play with it for a few minutes. But then there was like a bunch of other stuff they wanted us to do. There was snack time where we had to line them up at the kitchen, and we'd have to, sit them down, give them their food. We had to take them into the classroom and help them with homework. It was like a lot of tedious things. And I was like, I thought I was getting into a coaching position. Like this is what they described to me during the interviews. Like, oh yeah, you'll get an opportunity to like lead after school sports and all. And I was like, this is the complete opposite.
Yeah, you thought you were going to be like dealing with sports and stuff like that. Instead, you're helping kids with math homework.
Right. So, yeah, and then I think from what I remember at the beginning of the shift, like right after school, you would all meet in the gym and you'd have them like work on these like puzzles and stuff. And then we'd have to like do these songs with our hands, like doing all these different motions, like do. And of course, kids, they never listen. They're all talking and joking around, and the lady kept having to be like, okay, count of 5, otherwise we're not going to have any fun today. And just, anyway, after doing that, I was like, okay, this may not be exactly what I wanted. Actually, it's not at all. And on top of that, they wanted me to work in Oceanside, even though I told them I wanted to work in Escondido. So after about, I don't know, a month or 2, I just told them, they sent me to a couple of trainings, which were actually kind of cool. Those were fun. But after that, I was just like, no. I'm getting out of here. This is not worth it at all.
Yeah, it's like a babysitting in.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. And actually, I'm appreciative of that job because it made me realize, because I was originally thinking I wanted to teach like at the elementary level.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, no. The teachers do not get paid enough, and they have to put up with so much crap.
Yeah.
That's what made me realize, okay, I'm going to teach either high school or college level. Teaching little kids, I'm sure it's rewarding in a lot of ways, but that has to be so damn mentally draining.
Yeah, I feel like some people can do it and they prefer that, but you found out pretty quickly that that's not for you. So.
And the shifts were only like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And I would come home just completely drained. So, what does that tell you? You think I'm going to be able to handle a full day with these little brats? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, drive 45 minutes over there for a 2.5 hour shift to drive another 45. You're almost driving more than you actually are working.
And the other thing, too, is that they would just randomly text or call me. Like, even on a day I wasn't supposed to work, and be like, hey, we need you to come in. I'd be like, hey, I told you I can't work today because I'm working at the golf course.
Yeah.
And they just kept doing that. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, we understand. We won't do that anymore. And then the next day, hey, Ryan, somebody called out. We really need you to come in. So I got tired of that real quick. So another short-lived job experience there.
Especially if it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're just like lounging on the couch watching TV or something. And
Yeah.
like, we need you. Come on in right now.
Well, I remember
2 o'clock.
I went in to quit, kind of like what you did with Big Five, and they were really confused, and they were like, oh, no, come on. And they kept telling me, like, oh, we can offer you a coaching position.
Yeah.
Where that's all you'll be doing. You'll literally just show up, set up for whatever you're going to be coaching that day, soccer, flag football, kickball, whatever, and then you do it for about an hour, and that'd be it. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. Freaking, like, a few weeks go by, and they don't even contact me. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Do I even really want to do that? Like, it's minimum wage. It's only for a couple hours. So I ended up emailing them, hey, I'm quitting. If you need me to return, like, my uniform or anything, let me know. Never got back to me. Didn't send me anything, didn't call me, nothing. Still to this day, I've not heard back from YMCA.
So technically, you're still employed with
I
them.
might be. Honestly, it was just super weird how they handled business there. But anyway, I got out of there. So there you have it. I've had a lot of experiences with jobs where I was just in the door and then out the door just as fast.
Yeah, gosh.
It's all part of the experience.
Yeah, I think I said this in the last episode too with your whole radio thing. It's just, again, it's like part of life. And, until you find something that sticks, you're just going to be trying all these different things in all these different places. And you just got to know, like, I think the biggest thing is, Ryan, is just not to make the same mistake twice. And I think that's why I took my whole Big Five experience so personally, because it was just like, I wasn't thinking when I applied. Yeah. I was just thinking, oh, it's sports, maybe same thing with the YMCA. You're thinking, oh, sports, and it's just like, but, once you're actually there, it's just like, okay, like, this isn't. I didn't admit, one last thing about Big Five real quick. If I wasn't working at the golf course, I would have stuck it out a little bit longer. I think
you would have stayed at least a couple months just to get some income and hopefully have enough time to find something else.
I just think the thing is that I would have had to work 7 days a week, and having that kind of job along with the golf course would have been, I think it just would have been way too overwhelming. So
working 2 jobs is tough, and then when you pretty much don't have a day off, that's even more difficult. I mean, that's what was happening to me when I was working at DMV and the Mighty 1090.
Yeah.
Because I would work at DMV Monday through Thursday, and then the radio job was usually Friday through Sunday. So for a couple of months, I didn't have a day off.
Yeah. Yeah, so
it's tough, man. I mean, there are people that have to work multiple jobs, and for those that do that, we salute you. That's not easy to do, but
I don't have a family, so I don't have to like sacrifice too much,
Yeah, and luckily my wife and I don't have kids yet, so it's kind of the same thing. She has a stable job, and I've been working at the golf course. I also work at the dog kennel, which is more of an under-the-table thing, but that also helps with groceries and whatnot. Yeah. So technically, I do work 2 jobs, but I mean, for that dog kennel position, it's literally for like an hour and a half at the most.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take up much of my time. And you're working with dogs. Yeah. You're not dealing with people, so
it's like a side hustle kind of thing.
Right.
So
exactly. So we would love to hear from you. Have you had the same experiences that we have, or is this completely foreign to you? Because I know that there are people out there that have had like the same job their entire life. Like my wife, for example, she has worked for the same company since she got out of high school. Essentially, it's incredible. Yeah, I mean, she's had she's had different positions within the company, but it's been with the same group.
Yeah.
So she's been there pretty much half of her life now. Where for me, I've had 10, 11 different jobs now.
Yeah.
And it's always been one or the other. It's either I stay there way too long, way longer than I want to, or it's short-lived, like the experiences I just talked about.
I would say, at least, because I feel like there's 2 different kinds of ways like people would quit after their first day, like I did, or their first week or first month. It's either just like they quit just because they're kind of lazy, and that's kind of like most people, I think, who quit after one day. It's mostly because they're just lazy and they don't want to work.
Especially when they don't even show up or contact you after the first day.
Like, there's like those kinds of people.
See, we're nice about it. We at least go in and tell them why we're quitting, but then we get shit for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe we should just not call them the next day.
Yeah. Or the second kind of people who quit is kind of people like us, where it's like we either already have a job, so it's like it's not like we're going back to having no job.
Right.
Or,
Always have a backup plan.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because I think I just want to like make that, we're on this side, like we were already had jobs lined up and we were taking care. Because I feel like most people just quit, just because of laziness or they just don't want to work,
They're living off that trust fund.
Trust fund or stimulus checks in this case.
The government.
The government.
Government won't help us out though.
Yeah, unemployment.
All right, man. Well, I think that's gonna wrap things up for episode number 10.
We got pretty feisty in this episode.
We did, well, especially you. I mean, you were dropping f-bombs left and right.
It's just all the memories just can't get coming
You
back.
punched your phone a couple times. We're not mad at you, folks. We're just reliving these terrible memories just for you.
Be smart, kids. Be smart.
I appreciate it. Until next time, I'm Ryan Willis.
And I'm Matt Willis.
See you later.